Okay, this is the second part in the series. We're going from a rough neck to stage 1 to stage 2, and then stage 3 is all completed. I'm going to flip these over. All right, so here where we started, in the stage 1, we drew and bandsawed the heel. We drew and bandsawed the headstock. We shaved it down to the line there, and we shaved our taper from there to there and rounded off the shank. In stage 2, now we are going to thin this out, the headstock. We're going to refine this area, which we're calling the headstock bump, and also here in the heel. So here's my neck that I'm working on, and it's at stage 1, and we're ready to take it into stage 2. I put it in the vise, and with a combination square, we're going to draw a line around that. The headstock here wants to be 9/16 thick. So I'm setting my combination square to just under 9/16 because I know there's some space that my pen tip needs. And I can place it and it gives me a very consistent line all the way around. Even do a little bit right there. If the headstock is any thicker than this, 9/16, the tuning machines don't fit in there properly. The nut doesn't grab. So it has to be 9/16 at the biggest. Now that's assuming that you're putting your tuning machines like this. Some people have an open headstock and they put it like that. In that case, that 9/16 measurement is here. This works really well and cuts it pretty fast. This is a very coarse disc, and I'm just going to run it on the back side like that and take it all the way to my line. It's about how much pressure I put and where I put it. I try to do it uniform, but I'll constantly look at my line and make sure I'm sanding it uniformly. Now you can see that's working pretty fast, really fast. And here, related to the bump, right, eventually, if that's the apex of the bump, it's going to drop down into my line. And so where this edge goes, I have to kind of judge, but it's about right there. Okay, so my line is right there. So that looks pretty good. I think I want to get just a little bit closer on this side, which means I need to put a little pressure down below. And that did it. Okay, let's work on this area first. Right, that's what I'm going for here. I'm going to clamp this down on the heel. And also here, although I am a little worried about denting this, so I'm going to grab a scrap from the garbage can. That sanding block will work great. But anything under there, just to protect it, will work. Now, I'm going to use either of these rasps, but mostly I'm using the round, or I can use this full round, too. That's going to be my apex of the bump. So I'm going from there and dropping it down. Now, I might tell you also that if you don't like this bump, you don't even have to have it in there at all, right? I can go totally smooth from there to there without any problem. Originally, I think that bump was put in because of a joint that most guitar makers put in. It's called a scarf joint. And the joint goes across right there. And that bump kind of helps solidify it, the joint, to give it more material. But the way we build our neck, it's not a weak area right there, so it doesn't really matter. Though many players like it because it's a stop for their hand as they work on the fretboard. So I think it's a nice feature, but you don't have to keep it. It's also kind of up to you how you sculpt it. So here's two different options. Right, you can see that this is just a slight variation. By rounding this corner and that corner, it would bring it in like that. And you can see how I'm starting to flatten this out, and I'll just float it right into my flat. Okay, I'll keep working on that. On this side, I have to do the same thing. So here I'm going to swoop it up to right there. And then the sides here. So I just want it to be symmetrical. But you can see now how this is starting to become more like this is. And I might say that many students leave this kind of bumpy right here. Don't. Leave that plain, like this comes at an angle and then it works its way into there without any bump along the way. It's just a nice gradual trim. So I'm going to work this side and then I'll flip my neck around to get that side. How far I come in here is up to you. That's about center right there. So if I come this far over, and I can measure, that's about a 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch on that side will be right there. So I'll work that one into it, and so the two are symmetrical. Now the heel, I'm going to work it around like that, and also down into this area. And this is another common problem for many students, is they don't round this off. Right? It's a gradual curve from there up into there without any bump in there. So some students will round it here and then it flattens out and then it starts to round again, whereas you want to continue that round. If you want to make this sharp, you can. If you want to make it rounded, you can. This neck, right, has a bit of a sharp point to it, but you could do whatever you want to. If you want to round it smooth or even make a little wave in it, right, make it come out farther here and then deeper in like that. All of that is up to the builder. Another good setup is like this. I'll hang it over the edge so I get access to both sides. Clamp here. Yes. Now I have access to both sides. Now as we're moving along, there's something else you should know. The end of the heel here is going to be cut off where it meets the body. That'll be done by me, and I'm going to be removing about 1/4 of an inch here and a little more there because of a slight angle where it meets the body. So you're not going to have as much on the end here as it seems right now. And so you want to be aware of that. The neck bolts go in right there and right there. And they need about 1 inch of thickness. So no problem up in this area. But in this area, sometimes it gets a little close. Right? So I can't be going too much farther in. And I just keep working this to my liking until I reach something like that. And there's still all this rough rasp marks. That's okay. Rough rasp marks, very coarse sandpaper. In stage 3 is we're going to start really cleaning this up and make it look pretty.